Hello and thanks for joining us on another interesting episode of Business Trends, our financial news magazine program here on Galaxy Television. I am Tolu Ajayi. On today's show, I sat with an expert, an ICT expert. Okechukwu is the Executive Director of Business Services and Operations at Tennessee Professionals to x-ray issues as well as developments in the ICT sector in 2017 and, of course, prospects for 2018. This is the first part of that exclusive interview.
Thank you so much, Mr. Okechukwu, as Executive Director of Business Services and Operators, Tennessee Professionals. Thank you for joining us on the show today. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now let's appraise the ICT sector for 2017. How's it fared so far?
We'll actually look at it from two perspectives. One is the spend, and the other one is the trend. All right. So on the spend, I'll just talk about what happened, the level of adoption, people buying, what affected people's ability to buy. Because you can have all the good ideas, good initiatives that you want to implement through technology, but if you don't have the cash flow to fund it, it's not going to happen. So for 2017, I think the country, we are coming out from recession, right? We're coming out from recession, we're coming out from issues around the forex instability and all those challenges. So it actually affected the major spenders, because today in ICT in Nigeria, the major buyers or spenders are the financial sectors or financial institutions and the telcos, then the government. But the government is neither here nor there, because they spend, but in the last few years they've not been spending, probably budget and cash unavailability, right? So the banks actually started recovering. Some banks bought, invested in a couple of things. The telco, they also, gradually managing, coming out of, unlike 2016, it was no. The spend was very, very low. But in 2017, at least they've started buying, they started, investing. Then on the trend, right? When you look at the trend, I'm excited at what is happening in ICT trend, especially in Nigeria. I'm going to just talk about one or two sectors, maybe the banks, the financial institution, and the telco, and the government. For the financial institution, the song everybody's singing today is digital transformation, right? And I know the reason, which probably in the course of this discussion I'll talk about it. So all the banks are looking at, having, articulating their digital transformation strategy. Some banks have been able to start, others are still warming up. Some already have a very good strategy, but they are trying to work on it. If you check the speech given by the MD of Access Bank, during their end of year retreat, he talked about their focus for for the next 5 years. And one of the things he focused on was that the bank is going to focus a lot on digital transformation. They're going to go digital, and that is the language everybody is speaking in the banking industry today for obvious reasons, which I'm going to explain later. Then for the telco, there is a lot of struggle managing the infrastructure. These guys, they have grown, they have base stations everywhere in the country. Some of them are being co-located, some of them they're managing directly. But what's happening now in the telco is that they are working so hard to outsource the management of their base stations and the infrastructure to third party, like the likes of Huawei, the likes of Nokia, right? And MTN was able to do that last year. It's Airtel has not, as at last few days before the end of the year, I wasn't sure they've been able to conclude on that, but they've gone far. They say they've gone 98%, right? So it's a concept called managed services, where they completely outsource the management of their base stations to third-party customers, third-party vendors to manage for them so that they can focus on their business. right? The marketing and driving their revenue. And for the government, I'll be honest with you, our government is a very funny situation, because when the government came into power, they were all talking about they want to fight corruption, they want to stop corruption. And when we heard that, as an IT company, we started repositioning ourselves, because the only way to fight corruption is technology. It's easy. Today, look at what BVN has done, right? Just by implementing BVN, it has quashed a lot of corrupt practices, right? Now look at what if we're able to sort out our national identity card, and everybody has a unique identity, or a unique identification number, it will solve a lot of problems. So when the government came in and said that they want to fight corruption, right? We thought they're going to invest, on IT, but they've not done much, right? They've not done much, and we are believing that maybe this year they're going to do that. And we have done a lot. We have given them a lot of propositions. I mean, there are a lot of propositions as a company that we have given to the government, where we talk about, a shared service, which is the future, which is what every other person is doing. Today, let me give you an example of what happens in the government. A Ministry of Education will say, I want to implement ERP. They will spend $6-7 million. The Ministry of Finance say, okay, we want to also implement ERP. They spend another $4-5-6 million. And that's what all the agencies are doing, right? And beyond the initial spend, there are a lot of costs associated with, supporting it, maintaining it. You need to have a data center, you need to buy diesel, fuel, AC, and all those things, right? Now, we are telling the government, instead of doing this, why not we build a converged environment for you, where all these guys can just subscribe to these services. The implication is that they don't have to spend so much, right? So on the government side, I will tell you the truth, it's like chameleon. He has not taken any color. But we believe that by this year, right, although I have my worries for this year, because 2019 election is around the corner, and I heard that some of the political parties are already nominating their campaign managers and campaign director general. So the implication is that governance might be put on a halt while campaign takes off. Sometime in the course of the year. But last year, government, neither here nor there, they didn't do much.
All right, now, what was the most challenging issue, that happened in the sector in 2017?
From my perspective, one of the major challenge in 2017 with respect to ICT is, we're coming out from a recession. The recession affected almost everything, right? And ICT sector is not an exception. Reason being that most of the investments and most of the ICT procurement are done with third party, with offshore partners. So that's where the forex comes in. So there is need for people to have enough naira to buy dollars to be able to invest, right? So that's a major challenge, right? Then another challenge that we had was the issue I think other challenges are subjective, but the major challenge, because people want to invest, people want to get into this, but the major challenge is the recession. Then the other challenge is the small and medium companies that also want to, SMEs that want to invest, because ICT will make the operations better, right? But the challenge is that most of the people that operate in that space are highly ignorant of the power and the value that ICT brings to the table, right? So if you see an entrepreneur that maybe has like 10, 15 people that he's 10 to 15 employees that he's working with, he does an average of, let's say, 30, 40, 50 million per annum, and you tell him, see, I think you need to have a very good account statements, account software that will help you, or HR software that will help you, or cash flow software that will help you, or some of those little ICT products that can help them, right, drive their business. They see it as a distraction. I mean, think about it today. We are talking about cashless society, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And the idea was that you go to a demoter, you finish buying something, you use your card, and pay. Go to a demoter, go to some of those places, because when we talk about business, what comes to our mind is Tennessee, all the corporates, but the kind of money that moves in trade fair, in Aspanda, what's it called, Marina, those markets, in hundreds of millions, even billions on daily basis, right? So that integration has not been properly done, because there are a lot of ignorance that plays. So these people, they believe seeing their money. They just say, no, I don't want that. No, pay me my cash. I don't, how will it's possible that the SMS I will receive is fake, and you will go, I will not see you again. So that adoption is also a major challenge, and I think it's something that we have to, look at how to integrate that informal space to the formal space. So it's a major challenge that we have always had in ICT. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Now, the ICT sector contributed about 11% to the GDP inflation. Okay. That was last year from findings. Now, and this is because I think the growth wasn't that much, because we didn't really have a lot of investors investing in this sector, especially from offshore. Now, what could be done, or what can be done for such investors, to come into Nigeria and then invest in our sector, as the sector?
It's this problem for ICT is a derivative problem, and I'll explain, right? If you want to put your money in a house, right, you might not just check the cupboard that you want to put the money. You also want to check the house itself that you want to put that money. Because if the house is safe, the cupboard will be safe, right? So the investors, you can't answer this question very well without thinking like an investor. An investor has $1 billion that he wants to invest in anywhere. He has the option of investing in the Caribbean. He has the option of investing in Europe, America, Africa. He has options. Now, there are some indices, there are some things he checks out, especially with respect to stability of that economy. How viable is the economy? How stable is the economy? How promising is that economy? Right? If an investor comes in and sees a lot of instability, where there is policy irregularity, where today government says A, tomorrow they says B, where they also check already existing contracts, or that some of their contemporaries have entered with the government, and they found out that some of those contracts halfway it was cancelled. It's going to put the fear of God in their hearts, from coming in to invest, right? So for me, the major thing that we need to do is we need to tell a different story at the federal level. We need to reface this country. It's not as bad as people are painting it, right? So investors are full of fears. They don't want, do you know what happened? Do you know how much capital flights that we experienced in the last few years in this country? Investors pour their money, and that's even one of the reasons why we had forest shortage at a point like 2 years ago, because these guys, they saw this thing, they don't believe in our economy anymore. They started withdrawing their money. So what I think is this: our government should tell a better story about this country, right? We should. When I say rebrand, I don't mean the kind of rebranding that they did a few years ago, but I mean they should tell a better story about this country. They should solve the power problem. They should solve the security challenges, right? And once some of this, and they should also make the economy stable, right? Look at an economy where you have more than, at the point you have almost 13 different forex rates, You have rates for, if you want to buy akam, you have rates. If you want to buy rice, you have rates. If you want to go for what's it called, immigration, I don't know, what's it called, pilgrimage, you have rates. If you want to buy, so those things create. So if I'm bringing in money, at what rate will I change it? Because the investors are also bringing in their money not in naira, they bring it in dollars. So at the point of bringing in, if those things are not well articulated, they are losing money even without even doing business. So I think government, this whole thing about investing in ICT or even other sectors of the economy is largely a responsibility that the government had to take up. And I thank God that the vice president and his team I think they are doing a couple of things on ease of doing business in Nigeria. So those initiatives over time, I pray it pays off, and we need to be consistent. And once we're consistent, I think over time a lot of guys will start investing. Yeah.
Right. So how would you describe regulators' response to breaking issues, especially infrastructure and then quality of service, looking at the banking sector and then the telecom companies?
Okay. Honestly, for the banking, for the regulators have done very good job, right? But I think, from my own view, that the CBN have done so much, right, in putting a lot of things right in the financial institution, as against the NCC doing what they're supposed to do to make sure that the telcos are doing the right thing. And I think I understand why it's like that. The question is this: who funds NCC? NCC is actually funded by this MTN and the rest of them. There is a material amount of money they pay, which is statutory. So if I'm the one that pays your bill, you have to be careful how you talk to me. So the autonomous component, is not complete. So it makes them deal with them with a kind of respect, which is not meant to be so. I think MTN is supposed to be dealing with NUC with respect, not NUC dealing with MTN or the rest of them with respect. Because I pay your bills, I'm the one that sponsors, I'm the one that funds you. So what are you talking about, MTN and the rest of them? So on that, think about it today. You make call, you have a call drop, they bill you. You make call, hello, you're not hearing, and they are billing you, right? You travel, right? You are paying so much. Even when you travel in countries where there are all those MTN and the Airtels, they are still charging you. I was in Kenya, Mombasa, around Christmas, and I was paying over 60 naira to receive calls. No, 120. I had 60 naira, 120 to receive calls, and the same thing to make calls. That's crazy. I think the job of the NUC should be to protect the end users and to make sure that the telcos are doing the right thing. Then, but for the CBN, I will give it to them. They've done great. CBN is doing their job with respect to bringing in the regulatory framework that will make sure that the banks are doing the right thing. And I have a lot of examples to give. Today, in fact, CBN set up a team that is helping the bank source for forex to be able to fulfill their annual renewal obligation to their with their offshore partners. For example, banks use Microsoft product, they use IBM product, they use Oracle products, and every year they pay millions of dollars, to support it, to renew those contracts. Now the CBN had to call the banks and say, okay, how much do you need to do that? And they are helping them. That's one. In the security space, right? I will make bold to say today that Nigerian banks are more secure than their contemporary, African banks. And I have proofs to back my claims. Today, banks in Nigeria got certified for PCI DSS years ago, like some of them 4 years ago, some of them more than that, right? But if you go to Kenya, if you go to Ethiopia, if you go to Ghana.
From broadband development and penetration to spectrum management, as well as protecting the ICT infrastructure and licensing of additional infracodes, up to regulatory framework, quality of service, and data flow price, stakeholders strongly believe that if the issue of local content development and patronage are fully addressed, it would automatically take care of all other factors that needed to be addressed in the ICT sector in 2018. That was Okechukwu Eze, Executive Director of Business Services and Operations at Tennessee Professionals, my guests on Business Trends today. Many thanks for watching, and do join us for the concluding part of that interview on the ICT sector review in 2017. Some other time. Bye for now.